You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 27th meeting for the LaPorte County Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. I'd like to call the October LaPorte County Council meeting to order. Please silence all your cell phones. And please stand for the pledge. Mr. Yagelski.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Auditor, the roll, please.
Councilman Pressel.
Present.
Councilman Yagelski.
Present.
Councilman Kessler.
Present.
Council President Adam Karanka.
Present.
Councilman Justin Keel.
Present.
And Councilman Mike Mullenhour.
Present.
You have a quorum. You have 6 people.
Thank you. At this point, I'm looking for motion for approval for the agenda.
Mr. President, I have some corrections and additions to the agenda, please. Under old business, could we please move LaPorte County Treasurer Dan Marini over to the permission to hire? We'll put him in at the bottom of that, please.
Okay.
Then on page 2, correction to LaPorte County Building Maintenance Director. That should be a permission to hire 1 janitor position, not 2 full-time maintenance positions, please. On page 3, move to strike LaPorte County Highway. That request. Would also ask that we move LaPorte County Pioneer Cemetery to top of the appropriations transfers request, please.
Okay.
Move to strike LaPorte County FMEC at this time. And move the ware recovery to the January agenda.
Okay. Thank you. Any other additions or modifications?
Is the discussion about the Franklin Street Bridge also being removed from under new business or just in the appropriation section?
That's just staying in the new business. It was basically a double.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda as rewritten.
Second.
Motion approved in second. Any discussion? You have a request?
Oh, you wanted me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. President, I would like to move that you also remove the under new business approval of the lit for EMS off the agenda.
My motion will stand with the correction,
Okay.
or addition, I'm sorry.
So the motion,
Second.
so his motion with the adjustment.
With the adjustment.
Under discussion, I would say, we have a large crowd here of people who have come to speak on the EMS lit. I think we should preserve the discussion about it, regardless of whether we're going to vote it up or down, but people deserve to know why it was considered in the first place.
How are you going to find out about this? Did any councilman bring this up? Did any councilman bring this up?
We did not introduce it, that's true.
How are you going to do it? I'm going to make the motion as stands.
Gonna follow with second?
Give me a second.
I didn't second, but
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of modifying the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
nay.
Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion of approval of the September 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Mullenhour. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pressel. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Before I open public comment, I know we have a large group in the room and that there may be several people that want to speak. I'm going to ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes and be as objective and respectful as possible. This is potentially going to be a long night, and I want to make sure that we've got a nice civil meeting going forward. So with that, I'm opening public comment. So anybody that's from the public that wants to speak, please approach the mic.
Good evening, Councilman Bruce Zimmerman, 421 Holly Road. Most of you know who I am. I'm the guy that takes care of the Franklin Street Bridge 99% of the time. I started taking care of it back about 30 years ago, back in the early 90s. So far, I've missed birthdays, anniversaries, vacations spent on the phone. Memorial Days, Labor Days, 4th of July's, reunions, Christmases, New Year's, storm damage to my own house, which was added up to about $30,000 back when the first big storm blew through Michigan City. Where was I? At Franklin Street Bridge. The boat show was going on at the time, and there was probably $30 to $40 million worth of boats damaged. It got sent into NIPSCO's wall. So it was important that we got the bridge open and running so they could get the boats out of the water before they all sank. That's where I stand. That's dedication. That's commitment. I don't leave town on holidays or special events or anything else in Michigan City for more than 15 to 20 minutes outside the city limits, due to the fact that if they call, I have to go. Somebody's got to respond. That's been me the entire time. I feel that sometimes that these things get overlooked. My specialties, they range in computer tech, electrical. I correct engineers. They meet with me with drawings before they actually issue the drawings because they want to know whether there's any discrepancies. And I'm the one that points it out to them, brings them back into line. Rework the drawings, make sure everything's right. That's me. I've worked with several engineers over the days. And a real good one that comes back to me is back when we had a county engineer and there was a remodel on the bridge. And they decided they were going to reintegrate the tail locks, the old tail locks, into the systems. Well, they did so. I was asked by the county to go down there and make sure everything was right as rain. When I got there, I seen that the tail locks were shimmed beyond belief. They were tight. Now, right then and there in March, it's 34 degrees outside and they're tight. What's going to happen on a 90-degree day? The engineer sat right there and looked at me and said, the bridge does not swell. I said, it's metal. You're out of your mind. Needless to say, the first 90-degree rolled around, and I already talked to the county engineer, and I got the call. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. Sure as heck, the bridge wouldn't open. Why wouldn't it open? Tail locks were stuck. What's the answer? He met me at the door to the bridge because he was waiting at Matey's because he knew what was going to happen. Went down and looked at him. He says, what's your answer? I said, stay right here. I went and got a 20-pound sledge out of my truck. Walked in there and proceeded to wail on them tail locks to get them out so the bridge would open. Then we got a fire truck down there, and they sprayed the bridge down to cool it off. And guess what happened? Bridge worked perfect, but the bridge don't swell. Engineers are smart. They have their place and their time. But you know what? Realistically, there's a lot more to it than just that. Control circuits, rotary cam wiring, resolvers. I've been told, nope, that's not the problem. Who was right all the time? This guy. Right out of the factory. Bad resolver on a motor. Brand new motor going in. I'm like, that's the problem. They're like, no, it isn't. 4 hours later, the engineers looked at me and said, you know what? You're right. We're going to Chicago to get another one. But they wouldn't listen to start out with. So I've been down this road many, many times. A lot of people think that they can do this job. A lot of people think that they're qualified to do this job. A lot of people think, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's steel work. Anybody can do it. Do you know that there's a temperament on that steel down there? Do you know that you have to heat that steel up before you do anything to it? Because if you don't, the carbon will come out of that steel and it will crack. Most people don't understand that. You tell them that and they look at you like it's steel welded. No, it's not the case. There's a lot of things that you can do that to, and there are parts of the bridge that you can do that to. But there's a lot of places that you cannot, and you better know the difference, because if not, it's going to be a catastrophe for you. I feel that all the issues with the UPS systems, broken torque settings, and so on and so forth through the bridge. These are all little growing pains with the new systems that we have in place now. I never want to go back to the old days, guys. I don't want to go back there. And if you put people in there that don't know these things, that's where you're going to end up. And it's going to cost you a heck of a lot more money in the long run. I'm not saying I'm the right guy. I'm not saying that I'm the only guy. I am telling you that right now, I don't see a better option for you other than for myself and that man sitting right there. That's it. And if you do know somebody, let me know, would you? Because I'd like to meet them. I've heard all the propaganda that's been floating around and so on and so forth about bids and so on and so forth, and it kind of gets, it's not directed at me, I understand that, but it kind of gets irritating. And it gets to the point to where last Friday, I went down there and I removed all of my tools, all of my stuff that I needed to repair that bridge, and I took it out and I put it into storage. So I'm free and clear of the bridge at this point. So unfortunately, what I'm going to tell you here is, if any of you know somebody that's more qualified, here's my key to the bridge. Please step up here and get it. Because I will support them. I promise you I'll support them. That's all I got to say. Any takers?
You can keep the key.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome.
Public comment still open. Anyone from the public?
Good evening, everyone. Tim Stabos, former LaPorte County Auditor, 1501 Michigan Avenue. In the interest of saving time, I understand that the matter of the possible increase in the county income tax has been removed from the agenda. I will just ask, obviously I understand it's not a back and forth, but I did have a piece in the Herald Dispatch which was similar to my speaking here 11 days ago. I presume most of you maybe have seen it or are aware of the piece. If not, it was in the Weekender of the LaPorte Herald Dispatch. I'd let the public know that as well. I believe as the former county auditor, I'm one of the most qualified people to comment on where we went wrong and where we can go right in terms of either doing no tax or minimizing the amount of any potential increase. I also want to stand here and apologize to Mr. Yagelski, Councilman Yagelski, because I mistakenly, in that speech, which was otherwise 100% accurate, 99% accurate, mistakenly had mentioned at one point incorrectly that you had voted to increase the tax the previous time. That's not correct. I take responsibility when I misspeak, and I'm doing that right now. I will say, in fairness, though, sir, you have been here the longest at 20 plus years, and so you would have the longest institutional memory as far as the other council people go as to where the council perhaps has not done what it needs to do, I would say, in terms of letting attrition reduce headcount and raising revenues in areas other than taxation. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public?
I think that's his cue.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, one more.
Good evening, council members. This is a whole different perspective back here, so just want you to know. First off, I just want to start off with thank each and every one of you, and I mean that. Some of us had our differences, but I respect and appreciate every one of you. Randy Novak. Former council member, 7,000 West, 125 North. So I'm here as a former council member. But I appreciate the people that we worked with over the years. Everyone has been absolutely great, and everybody brings something to the table. So to that and to the citizens of LaPorte County, it's an absolute honor and a privilege to represent them for the last 11 years. And the employees, as Steve has mentioned, we've got some of the best employees, I think, around. So you guys got some tough things ahead of you, obviously. I've talked to a lot of you recently. So with that, I appreciate it. Next item. I just want to make a statement so that everybody understands it 100% clearly. The Republican-controlled commissioners for the last 5 years, approved contracts. They send them to the council for the last 5 years, the Republican-controlled council, for approval and funding. For funding, not approval. We don't approve it. For funding. Then it goes to the auditor's office, who's had 5 years as a Republican control, and they pay it. We've had several lawsuits in the past with the auditor not paying tax bills, not paying vendors and different things. Not once, in my recollection, except for when he asked us to not hold him responsible for paying a
Previous
vendor.
auditor.
What's that?
Previous auditor.
Previous auditor, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm not talking about you. But, but he never held up one of those checks. He paid all of them. And he could have stopped it. He could have drawn a line in the sand, but he didn't. And to insinuate that somehow that me being president, elected by a Republican council, that somehow I'm responsible for someone to insinuate that somehow with the lit that was passed several years ago that I played a shell game. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous. And those are the things that we need to get away from. We need to work together to bring this county better together. And I'll tell you this, the council has always, in my history in 11 years, been above what we see at the commissioners. Always. We come together, we solve problems, we get things done. And that's what I wanted to say, and I commend you guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public?
Good evening, Councilman. Joe Haney, LaPorte County Commissioner. First, I want to thank you for removing the lit item off the agenda here this evening. I wasn't planning on speaking, but your role here is obviously as the fiduciary and the financial body of the county to make decisions. Anyone who would operate as president of your body should be willing to take and celebrate both their successes and their failures. And it's not appropriate to try and look at some and gloss over others. What I will say is that your responsibility is extremely important, not just in deciding our budgets, but also in the things that come before you. And I want to make sure that moving forward, that some of the additional appropriations and whatnot, that those are actually approved and budgeted before money is spent. And my last point would be just to address the previous speaker. Just because someone hands you a loaded gun doesn't mean you have to pull the trigger. 2 out of 3 commissioners, let's say, were to approve something for spending, doesn't mean that the fiduciary body has to approve it. They can vote no. So just because somebody hands you a loaded gun, you don't have to pull the trigger. You can set it down, you can walk away from it and say no. Thank you.
I request that. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Mr. Haney. You personally, he directed me, but he personally called
please.
me. I'm going to say it. He called me and asked me to put the Franklin Street Bridge on the agenda because if we didn't and that bridge broke, it'd be screwed. You called me and asked me when I was president to put that on the agenda to fund it. So speak the truth and do it. Same thing with you.
Gentlemen, enough. With that, I'm going to close public comment. Department head reports.
Ella Bilderbeck, LaPorte County Recorder. Just a brief little update. I just attended a district meeting for Recorders Association, and one of the main things that I came home with is how prevalent the problems with property fraud is. We had some really great presentation. We had attorney from Attorney General's office. We had we had someone from Sheriff's Department and attorney from Jasper County, and they talked about specific cases. Knowing that as a recorder, we really can't do anything when the fraud happens, because that's a legal situation. At least we were giving some pointers on how we can direct the public, someone who is dealing with it, the first steps to take to protect themselves, because quite often the property, once it changes hands, it changes them again very quickly. And so one of the steps could be to have an affidavit recorded that says, no, this last transaction was not legal, or there's something wrong with it. So if they try to sell it, then there's a red flag, and the title company or whoever can look it up and say, oh, wait a minute, we don't want to have anything to do with that. As part of it, property fraud alert of different types, there's so many out there, is crucial, because the quicker you know that property changed hands without your knowledge, the quicker you can respond and the quicker you can protect yourself. So it was a very, very enlightening in some cases on how they do the crimes. I will not tell the details. I don't think we need to let bad actors know how to make their life easier, but they can be very creative. So a good way for public to protect themselves is to make use of any type of fraud alert. Like I said, there are many of them. Our county has one for free. And so if folks want to sign up, I welcome them, because sometimes it's a matter of 48 hours for the property to change hands again and again. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council members, Mike Rosenbaum from the Auditor's Office. I asked Dan Berendi to step up here with me, because I wanted to share some information, because there was a team effort that made happen, and it couldn't have happened without the support of both of the teams, one being the Treasurer's Office and then also being the Auditor's Office, who did the cleanup at the end. But the hard work was done at the beginning, and I think we both worked hard during that process. But one of the things happened is we had a tax sale. And how do people get on the tax sale? If they miss 3 tax payments, that means over 18 months, they can be listed on the tax sale. So I'm going to give them credit for pulling up 871 properties that were delinquent to the tune of $3.8 million and change. After part of the process that you have to notify everybody. They were notified. All of a sudden, in that period of time, in that 90 days, 439 properties out of 871 paid almost $1.5 million. That was something we didn't have in our coffers before this process. It continued. We finally got to the sale. 370 properties were offered on the sale. 161 properties were sold. We collected over $6 million, but most of that was in excess of the properties, and all we're worried about is the property tax. And all we're worried about is the property tax. Everything else is held in escrow. So the property taxes that were collected were over $605,000. So now we're over $2 million in the coffers that we didn't have without this collaboration. There was a cost of $53,000 on this whole thing and we netted $552,000 from the sale. But like I said, it was good working with another department to bring the best out for the county. And we just need to collect that last couple of $1 million. And it would be really great if those people would step up and pay their bills. That's all I have. Thank you for coming up.
Gentlemen, if you don't mind, very quickly, I did have a question on, there's 62 properties that were removed for cause, and people periodically will ask about why a property might be removed from a tax sale and how that's done. Can you give just a really brief explanation of how that happens?
It's very simply, either they make some sort of payment or some arrangement is made to get payment. So that's the only way they get removed. They don't get removed just because anybody knows anybody. It's very simple. There has to be some sort of financial. And the 62, it totaled $105,000. I can't tell you how much of that was collected so far, because some of these, they have to be because of their fixed income. We do the best that we can to allow them to be able to stay in the house. But it also, we can't do it if they owed us $4,000, we can't do it for $100 a month. So it has to be more reasonable than that. But that's how people can get removed. And a lot of these, some of these were really small, and then they ended up coming, there might have been a confusion, and there was wrong addresses, and so then it got corrected, and it didn't get included in these numbers up here. So it's quite possible a lot of that was collected, but that's at 105,000.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Any other department heads? Then I'll close department head reports, liaison reports. Mr. Pressel,
Nothing at this time, Mr. President.
Mr. Yagowski.
Yes, sir. Real quick, we did manage to get the finances available for the bridge for this year for the completion of getting the work done. But we will be $3 million short come fall of next year, so we're going to have to look at some ways to get the money to do the next phase. Year after year, we do so much, so that was it on that part. Maintenance, I just would like to congratulate the whole group together. We've hired some people now that actually do construction work, and we're fixing things in here. They did they're doing some steps, repair work on them steps. We had a couple other projects. You remember?
That was JC. We were doing the stairs out there, yeah.
So it's just we're getting ourselves back to where we should be at, and I'm just proud of the group that we have. So it's a hard way to jump back in, but I think we got a good team there now.
Good.
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Mullenhour,
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Keel.
Nothing at this time. Most of this month was focused on the budget.
Understandably so. Mr. Kessler.
Same here. Nothing
All
at
right.
this time.
Besides budget activities, one thing that I did is I spent a good, I want to say almost 3 hours in the treasurer's office last week, understanding the operations beyond just what your biannual collection period would be, and understanding the different roles and responsibilities, how different taxes and fees are collected and accounted for, and how they're transacted. Thing that was lost to me, even though I knew it existed, but how the process worked was the innkeeper's tax and how that comes in and how it's collected and accounted for and those sorts of things. So, Mr. Barney, I appreciate that, and please pass on my thanks to your staff. With that, any correspondence?
None collectively that has not been forwarded to anybody.
Okay, thank you.
I actually forward more things than what.
Thank you. All right, that brings us down to new business, which is the approval of the solid waste district budget.
Good evening, Councilman. As you might remember, earlier this month, I was here for a public hearing. We had no remonstrators. I'm Clay Turner from 7250 East Grace Avenue, New Carlisle, Indiana. I'm the Executive Director of the Solid Waste District. As I said, we were here earlier this month, did our public hearing, had no remonstrators, and I'm just here tonight to do the budget adoption, which this one has to be voted on.
Yes, that's correct. Before I call for the vote or any motions, one question I have is we had a pretty significant fire out there this week, or this past, about 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, it started September 21st.
Thank you. Personally, I have some concerns, and these may be something that you've already covered with your board. But is there anything that we have learned from the event that we're going to do differently from the solid waste, the yard cleanup site?
Oh, absolutely. We're a very popular site. We take in a lot of product out there. So we're going to have to start limiting what we take in. We're basically, the solid waste district was created to represent the residents of LaPorte County. So we're going to limit our contractors, we're going to limit our landscapers that come in there. We're going to work on just helping our residents out. We're not going to stockpile this material like we have in the past. Actually, we're going to get it, and what we can't use in a year, we're probably going to bid out a project to come in and grind it and haul it off site. Hopefully, we can find some vendors that will take the product from us at a reasonable cost or at no cost at all. But that's our goal. But yes, we learned a big lesson out there. We just can't stockpile like we did in the past. We got to get it in, get it ground up, either give it to the residents or get it off our site.
Also, in what I do, look at preventative measures as well, and that's one. Another one, is there anything being done in terms of temperature monitoring of the compost piles and those sorts of things that could potentially cause a runaway like this?
Well, there's two processes to it. There's a hot composting, which we do with the watering and measuring of the heat. We use cold composting where we don't have to turn it so much, because if you do hot composting, you have to turn it every 2 to 3 months to keep it moving and check the temperatures and check the. We don't have the manpower to do that. We're a 2-man operation out there, so we do cold composting. We put it in a pile. We try to grind up what comes in. We've been giving our stuff away for the last 2 years. We make compost out there. We make firewood. We're probably going to continue the cold composting of our site out there because it's less manpower involved. That takes about 12 to 18 months to make compost out of it. But we're just not going to keep that amount of material on site anymore. We're going to incur the cost to actually have it moved off of there. We're just not going to keep it. We hope the volumes decrease a little bit by not doing landscapers or contractors. We're just going to represent our residents.
Okay. Very good.
But Commissioner Haney has requested that we come up with some rules for running our compost site out there, which we're going to present at my next board meeting. We've been meeting monthly since we had the fire, and our next one is November 6th at 10 o'clock. Commissioner Hollifield's been working on some vendors to come out and help us move the product off of there. So we're in the process of trying to get it back open. We're open now to the public. The public can come in, but it's strictly residents.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
I will add one more caveat. We do represent, since they're on our board, we will take county highway, city municipalities, Westville, Long Beach, all those folks can still use it as a municipality, but not their contractors or landscapers. If they're contracting somebody to pick up their yard waste, that contractor has to worry about where he's going to take it to.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you. Mr. Yagowski.
For the longest time, we had a successful program in Westville by the prison. Is there any talk to try to get that going? Since they have all the land now and they're moving out that way, and I heard that they're trying to be cooperative. I actually did talk to the Michigan City warden on the issue, and he said that they might they might consider that option because they have quite a bit of property to help us out if we were going to do that. Can you see that program starting again?
I haven't heard that. It could be very possible. When we were out there, we had plenty of property to windrow all of our material out there, and we didn't have to worry about it catching on fire.
Between that, yeah, and then we were
I guess
using color and selling it too. So we actually, there was some profit off of it too.
Or there's a lot of cost when you have to grind it to a certain specification.
I was there,
and color it. So.
But we were making a profit though.
Right, but we don't want to be a business. I mean, we don't want to compete with landscapers. We just want to represent our county and do it in a very efficient.
But this moves a product. It has nothing to do with being a business. It moves a product. And so we were very successful when we did it that way. And that's why I'd like to see it talked about. If there's something with your board, maybe, that we open the suggestions back up because they're wanting to work with us out there. And I think that we should consider it.
Well, absolutely. If they're willing to let us come back out there, that would be wonderful. I just haven't heard that. They're under construction for the next 3 years.
This is going on for a while. Yeah, I'm not saying tomorrow or the next day, right? But I'd like to keep the dialogue open. That's what I like to do.
Absolutely.
Mr. President, if I might chime in, I've represented solid waste district for I don't know how many years. We were abruptly kicked off that site.
I know you were.
With no negotiation. It was kind of like one of my ex-girlfriends. Go now. That was it.
He didn't say which one. He said like
Thank
one.
you. No names, please.
I can't even come back with that.
That's probably a good thing. All right. Anything else? So with that, I'll entertain a motion related to the solid waste district budget.
Motion to the approval of the solid waste budget for 2026.
Motion approved by Mr. Yagowski.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any further discussion? With that, all in favor of approving the budget signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Auditor, if you would, after you get the signed resolution, get that submitted with your budget by November 3rd.
Tomorrow's good.
Tomorrow's good for me, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Next under new business, approval of the Hannah Township budget.
Good evening, Attorney Brad Adamski on behalf of Hannah Township, office at 820 Jefferson Avenue. This is a budget that comes before the county council simply because in the budget process for Hannah Township, they have 2 out of their 3 board members are firefighters. The state has determined that they can't approve their own budget. They can have the public hearing, they can present it, but ultimately it comes to the county council for final approval. This has been about 6 years now that we've done it. I can offer that there's no change in the budget this year from last year. The Hannah Township budget is essentially a general fund, a township assistance fund, a firefighting fund, and a fire cumulative fund. There is a fire debt fund, but ultimately that's not part of the levy this year. They established a debt fund to build a building or to build onto the building, but that project failed, so they didn't take the debt out. So that's why that still shows up, but there's nothing in the budget. So we're asking for the county to approve that so that we can submit it and move forward with the 2026 budget.
With that, are any questions from the council?
Yeah, just to clarify, you said that there was no increase to the budget, as in there was no increase to the levy, or just they're not planning to spend more than they did last year?
Increase to the levy as by state, but they're not changing what they're spending out of the budget.
Okay, so the standard 4% increase to the levy?
Correct.
Yep. Thank you.
Any further questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Keel, second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion? All in favor of the Hannah Township budget as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much. And then similarly, if I could get a copy of the signed ordinance, if you could send it back with my partner over here, if he doesn't get kicked out of another meeting.
Do you have the signature page, or else we didn't get because we'll be happy to do that right now.
We've all got it sitting right here. Just got to put Jimmy in there.
Put you in.
Randy Jimmy.
Saw that. Switched me up there.
We're just marking it up for you.
No, I appreciate it.
That way you can't change your mind now.
Very much a baseball signature.
Thank you, sir.
Should have seen my pad.
All right, as we're finishing up signatures for Hannah Township budget, moving on to new business, approval of the county budget. The hot topic of the night.
Mr. President,
Mr. Yagowski.
because of the situation that we see ourselves in, because we had already previously said that we're not willing to take on any type of tax, new tax. Yay. Oh, never mind. There you go. Thank you. I would like to introduce that the 2026 budget for LaPorte County run into the 2025 budget. So I wanted to take the 25 budget into the 2026, except for contractual amounts of money that are increased if anybody's under contract. So my motion is that the 2026 budget will follow and mirror the 2025 budget minus that, and excluding 100 accounts. They can be done after this.
So as I understand it, Mr. Yagowski, let me make sure I'm digesting this properly. So contractual increases would be a potential adder. The proposed wage increases are going to continue forward. Those would be those get added to the 2025 budget. Since overtime falls into the 100 accounts, what's your stance on overtime? Are we going to keep the overtime funding in the budget as it was in 25?
The overtime budget will stand as in 2025, with coming back to us for additional appropriations.
Okay.
But that way we can police it and we can watch our own.
Okay. So also payroll withholdings would then be the increase that we needed to support.
That would be under the 100 budget.
That would be under so the only 100 budget that we're not going to include is the overtime.
Correct.
Okay. Do I understand it properly?
Yes, sir, you did.
Okay. Do I have a second
I'll second it.
All right, and I'm assuming we're going to have some discussion, so let me have it. Mr. Keel.
Okay, for starters, this creates the illusion, no offense, but this creates an illusion that we're reducing the spending considerably, but not really. Most of the increases are in 100 account items. We went through the process of 15 hours, I went and checked the other day, worth of budget workshops over the last 4 months. That's a considerable amount of time to spend, and that's not including our regular meetings as well. We went department by department, and we made modifications along the way. Some of these were small, some of them were larger, to go back and roll back all of those changes that we made during that time period. It's going to be hard to fully know what the impact will be until many months from now when we start to go back and realize, oh shoot, we fixed that, and then now we just unfixed it. Some of the largest increases are in salaries. There's about $2 million in increases in salaries that would be untouched by this proposal. There's $1 million increase in insurance costs that wouldn't be touched by it. Another $1 million to right size it from apparently was underfunded before. There was underfunding in payroll expenses of over 1.7. Does that sound right? So, I mean, there's a considerable amount of expenses that aren't going to even be impacted by this. It's not going to substantially change what we already have and we're looking at with our budget, but we won't know what is precisely changing until later. That would be my pushback on it.
One thing that I know that we're walking into with this is things that we went through with those 15 hours of discussion includes work to present a budget that represents what our planned costs are. For years with the council, at least I will say the 2 previous cycles that I've gone through budgets, we've taken, knowing that costs for fuel and costs for overtime, we weren't fully funded by taxable or tax funds. Those all came from other income, rainy day, riverboat, things of that nature, that are not part of the purview of the process of budgeting. And we made the county whole again by using that. We made an attempt to bring that forward, make that part of the general fund revenue that was the source for these costs. And I know that's a step backwards in the process. In my mind, yes, it is a step back, but it also forces us to take another step forward with the overwhelming outreach that we received regarding potential for a lit and how to better manage county government and its costs. Forces us to regroup and go forward for 2026. The thing is, we have to follow through with that.
Mr. President?
Mr. Auditor.
I think we have an issue here. We have submitted what you had approved, what's on these 2 sheets. That's not what his recommendation is. This is what the state has. So
The state has numbers. The state has numbers, and I've done this before.
I know.
Right. They changed, but they're lower numbers than we had for 2026.
Well,
They're
I'm going to recommend that you vote this down and match what you agreed to.
I wish you would have been recommending that $5 million that we got to take care of because of your issue too. So
Not my issue, sir. It's
Yes,
your
sir.
issue.
You're the one who brought it up, sir.
No, it's your issue. We'll
not my
discuss
issue.
that.
Gentlemen.
We're not
please.
going there.
All right.
To help the public understand what we're trying to do with making, I'm sorry, did you already?
Go ahead.
To help the public understand what we're trying to do with the budget is to make sure that the amounts that we put in there reflect what we truly anticipate the costs are going to be. There's some expenses in the course of a year that are just purely not negotiable on our part. They're not going to change. Things like inmate food, we can't. There's not a lot of room for us to try to control the cost on things like that, or fuel, or insurance costs. And when we under budget them, we're just lying to ourselves in the short term in order to make it look like it works, when in reality it's not gonna, and they're gonna come back for additional appropriations later. When those additional appropriations come back later, it's hard for us to keep a running tally in our head with dozens or 100+ items that might be under budgeted. Nobody can do that. It's not on paper anymore. So this is a process, while it makes it look like the budget is growing, in reality, we were going to spend those amounts anyways. We're trying to incorporate them in there so then we can figure out what the true costs are and then make cuts. We have to start somewhere, and if we don't even know what the true expenses are, it's impossible to move forward.
Okay, Mr. Yagowski.
I believe both you are correct on the issue. The problem is my motion is to fix a problem we have right now. It's not to help the whole thing. I get it. we can't renegotiate what we have. So the problem is that, and I'm sorry, the people here that have their opinion about the tax issue, we're going to have to do something in the future. The stuff we already have is a base to start early enough next year to get to that point, so we don't go and do what happened this year. As you all know, Shaquille, I highly recommended a 10% cut across the board, but that I didn't win out on that one. But I truly understand the idea of what you're talking about. I do. But we're going to be forced in just 2 years to have some tax, whatever that tax is. I've open session this. I love to hear everybody talk about it because our state legislators put us in the position that we're in. I would hope that we all can work together to find a way to work together so it works for us. But unfortunately, I don't know what that's going to be, because whether it be a gas tax or whether it's going to be whatever, the future's not bright for us in 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I'm glad that you guys are showing up, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm hopefully going to be with us for the next couple of years so we can discuss this together. It's going to be something we can work out. Maybe we can try to see if the legislators will ease off on this a little bit. But we're put in this situation. I don't want to be in it, but I want to try to fix this for this year, so we have to go through a lot of other unnecessaries. And then because we have the groundwork based now, we can walk into next year and take those numbers and duplicate that. Thank you.
So just to clarify, so if we don't pass as presented tonight, right, as 2026 how we have it, we have until Monday to get it changed, no?
This is it.
This is it.
This is your
So
public
if we
meeting.
don't pass it as presented in 26, it reverts to 25 anyway.
And there's not enough in 25 to cover the expected expenses.
There's two things also that are happening in the budget process. The first is that we're approving the budget in terms of expenditures, but the second is that we're setting a tax levy. Reverting to the prior year's tax levy would be forfeiting about 1.5 million, maybe roughly. So it can't be 4.
No.
A 4% increase to the levy is true, but I think that works out to about 1.4 million maybe in the general fund, ballparking it here. So,
But you understand, I didn't include the 100 accounts. You guys, if you guys can use that 4%, I'm helping you help yourselves. If you take that 4%, that's what your raise is for this year. It's up to you guys to do what you want to do.
the 4% increase to the levy isn't enough to cover raises. It's worth pointing out, so we have a budget, there's a lot of different sources of revenue. The property tax revenue, our property tax levy, is the largest share of our revenue in the general fund, and that is allowed to go up by 4% this year is what the General Assembly has capped it at. We don't collect the full 4%. There's a circuit breaker cap, that's your constitutionally passed circuit breaker caps that 1%, 2%, and 3%. Those limit the amount that we actually collect. So rather than getting 4%, we probably get more like 3% increase on revenue. And that's only the levy. Then we have all of these other miscellaneous sources of revenue that can be the money we collect from the EMS, ambulance service. It could be money from juvenile services that we get from the state, et cetera, interest revenue. All of those things don't necessarily go up by 3 or 4%. They might have gone up 0%. And so our overall revenue did not increase by 4%. And thus, there's not necessarily enough to increase every single line item in the budget by 4% or 3%. My back of the napkin calculations show us basically, as it's presented right now, probably drawing down the general fund by about $7 to $8 million in the next year in order to sustain the level of spending that I'm seeing on here. Five. I also made some adjustments there's traditionally, and this is normal for every unit of government, they estimate the levy high in order to, there's some complicated reasons with that. You can't have a tax rate that goes up in the process. We'll not go into the weeds there, but it's probably estimated high here. So when that gets removed in the 1782 notice process, it'll probably be reduced further. So it's probably like 7 to 8 million that we're going to be depleting from cash reserves. Simply put, it's not sustainable.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And I believe that's why the auditor introduced the idea of a EMS local income tax, was to try and stave off that sort of aggressive decline in cash balances.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Any further recommendations?
I gave you mine.
Perhaps a question
Do
for...
what you spent all the time and working on. Pass that, because you went down line by line with every department. You kept many departments at the 25 level. Many departments, almost every department, you already did at the 25 level, with the exception of the ones that we had to adjust, or you had to adjust for the expected expenses. And then at the end, we added on the insurance. And to go backwards, you do not have the excess funds coming in to cover them anymore. That is why the lit was suggested, so that we would have a much more solvent county for the next 2 years. It was a 2-year plan to have a solvent county. The funds have been used up. Here's an example. Riverboat used to get $5 million. We now get $1.4 million. Forget the surplus, because you can't count on it. And by our own rules, $700,000 of that has to go into rainy day fund. Even if you changed it and moved it back where you could spend it any way you want, that's $1.4 million versus $5 million. That is why we've been trying since the 24 budget to start getting more realistic numbers in there. And I thought you went through all of that time and effort. And I know Mr. Yagowski argued differently, and so he comes up first to make a motion. I suggest that you vote it down, and I suggest that you go back and vote what you've agreed to here.
Any other questions?
I hate to filibuster, but on the topic of a 10% across the board cut, because it's been floated before, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it was 5 or 10% before, that was 5%, did that include salaries?
There was no salaries that year.
So it was only 5% on the 200s and 300 accounts, which is services and charges, contractual service, that sort of thing, supplies. The trouble with this is when 75% of your general fund budget is salaries, if you're only cutting 5% of 25%, you don't get a very big savings. It doesn't get us anywhere close. Sure. If it's 10% across the board and it includes salaries, now we might be getting closer to the number that we need in order to balance it. But that'll be tricky to attribute to every single person evenly. A department like Weights and Measures that has one employee right now, where do we cut 10% out of his salary? Like, that's not going to work. What about public safety items? Are we comfortable cutting 10% of our sheriff's deputies or 10% of our jailers or paramedics, 911 dispatchers? Once we've gone through everything that we can't touch, how much of our salaries are off limits then? And so we're not going to achieve the 10% cuts that we want. And then for departments that are looking for ways to get to their 10%, they're of course naturally going to go for the things that have the least amount of pain. And so you'll have them doing obscure things like, I'll cut all my 10% out of NIPSCO bills or something, and then just come back for an additional appropriation halfway through the year, and we'll say, well, gosh, we have to keep the lights on, and we'll approve it. And then we didn't save anything in that department. So it'll be a game of whack-a-mole, and it'll have to be done really quickly. I don't think we'll get the success that we're hoping
that's your
for.
opinion. At the end of the day, the council still has to vote on it. So if that 5% is coming out of NIPSCO, we're all smart enough to know where it's coming from. So no, I disagree with you. We can either sit there and kick the can. I mean, I brought up, you asked just before I brought it up. I mean, even a union contract doesn't have 15 holidays a year. We get 15 holidays a year. That's 3 weeks vacation. That's not bad. And I'm not talking about a major one like Christmas. We got Columbus Day off the other day. I just, the whole United States pretty much goes to work, but except for a few federal and state employees. I mean, where do you want to start? I'm going to keep going if you want, but that conversation, we talked about getting this time clock system in. Now, if we get it implemented, it will be 6 months from now. I totally agree that there's a lot of things we've talked about it we should do, but so be it. I mean, if you think that, I mean, the average amount of vacation holiday pay, for example, is 11 days. That's the average. If you take union contract companies everywhere else, we have 15. There's something you can look at there because it's costly. It's costly to shut down government to run it. Or you're paying double or time and a half for people that are working because the rest of the people are off that day. We're off for election. Let me give an example. I brought and proposed, and this council voted for it, for Juneteenth Day. So that was voted for us by all of us, and we were taking away the election day. We don't do anything like we used to do years past, where it's all manual and computers do it all. So we agreed to that conversation, and what do you think happened? The commissioners voted against all that stuff, and I put my hand up and held my breath. Guess we did. We added another day. That was something you and I voted with, sir. So I could keep going, but I'm not going to filibuster this one.
This actually, this highlights a really true point, which is that not everything that we try to do up here can actually be implemented by us. This is the fiscal body of the county.
Mr. Staples, now, can you wrote that we can't-
Ultimately, there are other elected office holders that have a lot more say in how it gets implemented, especially as it relates to hiring and firing of staff. So, I mean, in some of these cases, our hands are tied. We can want less lawsuits. We can want things to be more efficient, but we're not always able to actually control it, which is frustrating, to say the least.
Agreed. Any further discussion? With that, I'm going to replay the motion, and we'll call the vote. So, motion by Mr. Yagowski to revert to 2025 numbers for all except for the salaries and payroll deductions or payroll withholdings of the 100 accounts, leaving overtime as the 2025 level. And contractual increase rates for contracted services. Second by Mr. Mullenhour.
Make sure to specify what's happening with the levy in this, because that's going to be an important detail for the auditor's office to potentially implement. Is the levy staying at 2025 levels, or is it the levy going to the 2026 levels that have been proposed?
The levy goes to 2026. They've already have money that they were told by a Board of Accountants that we're supposed to hold back on. The levy's got a little. Our budget has some fluff to it, if you want to use a word, and it has been. And we're supposed to. That fluff's supposed to be 15%. That's what's supposed to, and that's the number that they gave us. That's the number they want us to get to. So that would work out.
No, go ahead.
Finish your statement.
That'll work out just fine. If that's the statement is yes, it's good. The levy. I'm still acknowledging the levy.
Okay.
We've got a $5 million hole right now. That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Yeah.
And that will fix your $5 million hole.
No, we're going to have a $4 million hole maybe if we're left.
You're going to need to go dig into the general fund, which has increased to $11 million. So come January now, in order to fund EMS, you now will have to do an additional appropriation of $5.1 million in order to fund EMS for next year.
Trust me, sir,
out of the general fund.
This is why I went to this level. Sir, I totally agree with you. I'm not the one that cut the $5 million out of the budget, so I totally agree with you.
Well, there's, I think, some explanation that has to happen in order to show why the $5 million is not included. So we have a Form 4B here. It explains where the money is, the budget is put into the different funds. At the time that the auditor advertised it, he believed that there would be an EMS lit. And so he created an EMS lit fund and attributed $5.1 million in expenses to the EMS lit fund. Feel free to step in and correct me if I go astray here. Because that's part of the process. You have to advertise this. And that's why it's separated from the general fund.
And that was what it was agreed upon by the majority.
With an EMS lit not passing, that will need to be funded a different way so that it will get moved back to the general fund in January with an additional appropriation.
Okay. I mean, he says okay, but the last statement, none of us agreed. And I don't want no words put in my mouth. None of us agreed.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Okay, that was just.
You agreed to move.
Oh, sir, I did not.
You agreed to move their funding into the lit. Otherwise, it would have been able to have been moved in there.
I don't remember us voting on that.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
we did not.
We talked about it at the same time that we were condensing all the other lits, so maybe there's a little confusion.
There was no confusion. We didn't vote for it.
Whatever, sir.
All right.
Shut the fuck up.
So looking at all of my fellow council members, I'll understand the motion as presented.
Yes.
That I'll call the vote. All in favor of, rephrase this again, passing the budget as 2025 levels with exception of contracted services for contracted increases, the 100 accounts increases based off of our previous discussions during the budget workshops, with exceptions to overtime remaining at 2025 level, and the levy being held to the 2026 proposal submitted to the state. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Ask for vote, please.
Mr. Otter, call the roll.
1 second. Mr. Pressel.
Aye.
Mr. Yagowski.
Aye.
Mr. Kessler.
Nay.
Mr. Karanka.
Aye.
Mr. Keel.
Nay.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Aye.
Passes 4-2.
How quickly are we going to be able to get a revised budget?
Be lucky by Friday. They have to go line by line now. And all the work that you did is undone.
As you go through that line-by-line process, and I know this is creating extra work for you, but it's going to be part of the process afterwards, if you could highlight the changes that are being made between what was proposed and what has now just been adopted, so we can go back and look through which of these are going to need to be reverted back or what's going to happen with them, because there was a lot of decisions that were made during the budget process that we're going to need to review. And then also if you could tell us what the anticipated cash drawdown will be at the end of this process so that we know what we're expecting. That would be appreciated.
We're going to have to go in January, correct a lot of stuff and do some additional appropriations because you're not covering the 5.1 million even with this drawdown. Okay, so we'll have all of that, but it's not going to happen this week. We just have to make sure we can get this stuff submitted by November 3rd, by Monday. A lot of work for a very 4 days.
Okay. Moving on. LaPorte County Highway Assistant Superintendent. Looking for motion and support not to exceed 1.2 million related to Michigan, or the Franklin Street Bridge in Michigan City.
Andrew Simmermeyer, County Highway. I'm here in place of Charity to request the permission to proceed with the next phase of Franklin Street Bridge project. Charity has reviewed our 2025-2026 budgets, and between the funds of Major Bridge and Cume Bridge, we should have enough money to cover this phase of work. At this time, we do not request any additional appropriations.
Okay. Mr. Skiat, scope of work, please.
Good evening, Council. Andy Skiat, Marquis Electric, 203 East Harrison Street, Michigan City. I'd like to start first just to make sure the record's clear. The proposed amount is incorrect. The not to exceed amount is actually 1,262. So.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And what's the general scope of work?
There's some cracked I-beams out on the toe of the bridge, so we're going to remove part of the road grading to access those items, so we don't have to get another barge like last year because we didn't have time to include that in last year's work. So we're going to pull the roadway off, repair those cracked I-beams, and then there's some structural repairs down in the pits that need to be done, some counterweight concrete repairs, a new floor in one of the pits, and then there's some safety items down in the pits that we would like to get repaired. And then if you should so choose to pass this evening, I'll obviously go to the commission to follow up with them, but I do believe I have official but unofficial approval from the Coast Guard because there's only one member there working that's deemed essential. The rest of them have been furloughed for the government shutdown, but I was able to touch base and get the permit. The city of Michigan City has the coldest night of the year walk scheduled over the bridge. I told them, I would ask the county, the commissioners, and I'm here, I'll speak on it, if they could cross the bridge, under our supervision during the closure. At first they thought that would be foot traffic. Now they want to drive across that bridge because they want to keep the traffic open to the lakefront. We would work with them if you move tonight and if the commissioners decide to let us do that on their behalf to make sure that happens. And yeah, so we're hoping to close again if it proceeds January 5th because we don't want to shut down the bridge before the holidays are over because all the lighting and the festivities, the community enjoys that, the children enjoy that. So we'd like to keep the bridge open so everybody can have it for Christmas and New Year's. And then after that, we'd close on the 5th and try to be wrapped up by March 15th.
Okay. Mr. Yagowski.
Not without a large conversation, just some generalities. What would it include for the following year for the $3 million?
What'll be left the following year is the tread plates. So right now we have 3 of the 4, like the concrete exhumed to the footings, so they're exposed, so they can do a laser survey of those. We're going to get the rest of that work done this fall, and then when we have the closure and the bridges and operating, so those aren't flexing, those will get laser measured, and then they'll get detailed drawings done for those, and then we'll have to try to find someone to manufacture them, and then next winter would be I'm going to call it the worst outage probably of all, because the tread plates that the bridge actually runs on the 4 corners, we'll have to raise those up and then get all those out on all 4 corners that support the bridge and get those put back in. So next year is actually the one I'm looking forward to the least if that happens. So.
Okay.
But there is some commitment there, whether you would choose to do the work, because 3 of the 4 are already exposed. So even if you decided to not continue with the phases of rehabilitation, there would be some work to put that concrete and that structure back in place, because right now it's temporarily bridged to allow operation.
Thank you.
Andrew, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but you mentioned that that Cume Bridge and Major Bridge should have enough to cover what's going on here. Is there anything that we're foregoing or putting ourselves at risk by?
I don't believe so at this time. She ran the numbers multiple times, different ways, and I think we are good to go on it.
Okay.
And also for the record, for your consideration, in that 1262, there's a little bit over 300,000 of that would be performed by our firm and retained by our firm. The rest would be paid out in subcontractors, just so you know the split of what you're actually voting on.
And just, I know I was at the commission meeting, but for the other members of the council, how many bids did you guys receive when those came in, just so it's on the record, please?
The commissioners got 1 partial bid, and to be clear, that was actually the company that we worked with last year, and we had 5 or 6 people request bids based on the advertisement. They all came back what they would not bid, and the 1 bid that we did give, they didn't even request it based on the advertisement. I actually solicited that just to be clear and forthcoming, because we had worked with them last year, and they said they would love to do the part they could, but they couldn't do all of it, and our share would be a little over 300,000.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Are you seeking for this doesn't have an appropriation attached to it, so what is the motion for?
Motion support is what was requested.
Motion to spend.
Okay.
No, it's a motion of support.
Their motion to support.
So
They're not asking you for the funds, they're saying that they're going to have it by the time that they need to spend the money.
Councilman Keel, sorry. So we didn't get the proposals back to know the final number in time to make it on your agenda. So based on the time of the year, we would like to order materials and know we have some form of commitment from your body to proceed with the work. So if we could get a motion of support for permission to spend, then we could move forward with the project and get materials, and I'll be back at your next meeting for a formal, if I have to come back a second time with the highway.
But previously it was said that we didn't need an appropriation, so a motion of support, that's just for an appropriation later. If it's already appropriated, it's not necessary.
I don't know that.
So are we good on appropriations?
I would say that you would want to do the appropriation, the permission to spend at the next meeting. I misspoke. I apologize for that. I think that currently what I show in the funds is just a little short, but every month we get more money. So, and also, when is this going to be paid out? By the time it's all paid out, it'll be fine.
Mr. Keel?
Okay, so it's not
I
appropriated
didn't mean, when I stated that they had enough money to transfer over, it won't be available. It'll be available as the money's being put in. They felt comfortable the money coming in will pay the bills on time.
Charity asked me for the billing cycle, what I expected the billing cycle to be between now and March 15th, and she said based on that, she could cover the work.
Okay.
So
I have to ask them, what's the recommendation again for this?
So in order for him to know that he can go, that this is going to be covered, he would really like you to give a motion of support, stating that at the next meeting, you're going to allow them to, you're going to give him permission to spend.
Make a motion of support.
Because that way he can order the parts.
Second.
So motion of support by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion? That, all in favor of motion of support of up to 1.262 out of Major Bridge and Cume Bridge, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Down to permission to hire, starting with LaPorte County Building Maintenance Director,
Good evening.
Not Angie Davis.
You get my bubbly personality. Director Davis asked me to step in tonight for a couple items for her. She had conflicts she couldn't attend. She had recently had a full-time housekeeper that took a job in the auditor's office, I believe, and she's requesting to hire and replace that person so she can keep a full housekeeping staff.
Okay. Do you happen to know off the top of your head how many are on that staff right now?
No, I do not.
Okay.
There's 5 full-time people and 2 part-time people.
Okay, I was going to say 8 total, but 7.
All right, then this
would be the
8th
yeah.
person.
This will be number 6 full-time.
Yes, sir.
Correct, yeah.
8 total.
Right, currently there's 5 and 2.
We discussed that at the maintenance meeting this morning.
Okay. Any recommendations on a motion?
Just a comment, keep an eye on what's available in the 100 accounts, since we moved 100,000 out of that, so I don't want to get...
When I come up before, she's got the information for you requested.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's keeping a very close tabs on everything.
Perfect, thank you.
And Mr. Keel, they're working with us on a very regular basis
Yes.
on everything.
Their office has been tremendously help to her.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I'm still looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Mullenhour.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pressel. Any further discussion? That, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen.
LaPorte County Auditor Mike Rosenbaum requesting permission to hire a full-time tax sale clerk. Mr. Rosenbaum.
We had a retirement. Simple as that. You have to have a tax sales clerk year-round. However, we also have, the person was also doing work on grants. We're now going to change that a little bit, but the person's going to be working on, we have cross-training, so the person that we're looking to move up into that position currently works for us, which will open up that position for next month. But this person will be taking on other duties other than just tax sale. So we're trying to combine things that we do, and we're keeping busy all year round by doing that. So that's what we're looking to replace.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a question. Mr. Rosenbaum, you brought up at the last meeting that you felt that if everything gets put in place, that you would be able to possibly expel one of your employees off the list if that was the case, because you are cross-training and you are...
Yeah, we're still working on all of that, and we're not at that complete, we're not ready for that.
That phase.
We're getting as close as we can. We're going to be sitting down and seriously talking about it, but we are going to come and ask for the next one as well. And then what we can do is we can then start thinking about if we're going to drop next year, somewhere in the middle of the year. I don't have a problem if we need to drop a person and switch it if we're not being able to keep them busy. But that's what we need to do, is make sure that we're keeping them busy and that there's enough work. Because if not, then we're going to tell you at that point. But we're evaluating what we can do. I mean, there used to be someone inside that was doing years ago that was doing the insurance job, but it's turned into a full-time job based upon recommendation of others. We're trying to look at all of this as well. So, but we're now being able to focus on it more now that, well, after the budget's sent in.
As we're doing our due diligence, is this a position that could be converted into a part-time position or
No.
2 part-time positions instead of 1 full-time?
No, you need somebody on staff all the time to be able to answer questions on a tax sale, because you have people redeeming throughout the year, and you have tons of questions that come up on this all the time. So that part of it is a constant. It's not something you can say, well, you can only call in until noon, from 8 to noon. We can't work it that way. Yeah, have I thought about it? Yes, I have. But it's just not that position, because they're also going to be doing other things, and this person is already doing other things. And we have a requirement to go back to GAAP financials, and GAAP reporting takes we've already almost completed the 24 information that's required, and we're going to have to do the same thing at the end of this year. This is the person that is already been doing this, and we want to have her continue to do it rather than have her do grant work, because that was the other person was doing grant work instead. So we're looking at the next position that person will do some of the grant work.
With that explanation, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Mullenhour. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pressel. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
LaPorte County Highway, request permission to hire full-time clerk receptionist. It actually said Charity Glazer, but I wasn't going to say that. No, you're up. Come on, Andrew.
We had, is this thing on?
Yeah.
The girl that was doing the job, she quit and went on to another job, so we're just replacing the job that was.
Okay. Basics of the job.
Basics of the job. They take all the complaint phone calls, all our daily activities, they enter all that, keep up with all the guys' times. Very busy job, actually. They hardly even take lunch, to be honest. The past two people that have done the job, they might go to lunch for 10 minutes once a week. I mean, they stay busy all day.
Okay.
So, I mean, I wouldn't want their job, the complaints that we get, or the phone calls they get and stuff from the public. I mean, that's all they get is complaints.
You've done a great job covering for her, though.
Yeah. Thanks.
You mentioned they. Is there more than one?
We do have, two people in the office, and yes, they both are completely slammed every day with paperwork. One does more of the budgets and, all the billing, everything like this, and this one's doing all the employee stuff and complaints, and we keep track of everything we do, every material that goes out of that yard. It's a lot to keep track of. So, yeah.
Asking the same question that I asked the auditor, is this a position that could be converted to part-time or two part-times to take the same place as a full-time position?
No, I don't think so.
Also, I would take this moment to point out that 30 hours is, I believe, the threshold to provide health insurance. We have a 37.5-hour work
27 and a half.
27 and a half?
Or 28, usually.
I thought it was 30.
Well, like I said, I mean, they don't even have time to take lunch trying to keep up with everything. Me and the person short now, we're kind of all helping out doing it. And it's quite a bit of work they do. What the two girls in the front office, I mean, they stay busy all day.
Is that entertain a motion?
So moved, Mr. President.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Port County HR Director Monique Thomas requesting permission to hire HR position, assistant HR position.
She on?
I thought she was.
Oh, she wasn't? Okay.
This was the
Mr.
full-time
President,
position.
I'd like to speak for this position. We have asked for a lot more from our HR person, and this job was, in my mind, beneficial to help out in that office. We were getting new employees, and she was a compliment to the office. She was training people, and I've heard from new employees nice things about that. So it's unfortunate that she found different work, but I think the job really needs to be sustained because we are continuously hiring people and trying to get them to be qualified as you're going out to the jobs. But
Can you clarify, there's currently 3 positions in the HR department. There's the full-time HR director, this assistant position, which is full-time, and there's a part-time position, correct?
she's a lady at the desk. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2.5 people.
2.5 people.
For 700 employees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And this is the other full-time person.
Correct. This is the position that Director Thomas previously held.
So I'll make the motion for this then.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mine motion.
Yagowski,
Mark
Mullenhour. No worries. I'd rather the notes be good. The Port County Clerk of the Circuit Court, Heather Stevens, requests permission to hire a replacement. What are we replacing, ma'am? Who are we replacing?
We are replacing one of our employees. He worked our circuit criminal, our lower level criminal cases. That is a busy desk.
Okay.
As of today, I have a second opening in circuit. That was my first employee left to go make more money somewhere else. I get it. This one, I lost a second employee today. However, that employee worked the circuit counter and had a fair amount of responsibilities. But because I have an office full of team players, they're going to try. They're going to try to do this without filling that counter working position. If I see that they are overwhelmed, if they're slammed, I'm coming. But for right now, we would just like to fill that criminal desk spot because we have one other person that does criminal and she does the higher level felonies. But what if she's sick? What if she's on vacation? I mean, and that's touchy stuff. If that stuff isn't done exactly the way it should be, judges are going to be freaking out. So we don't want that.
Mr. President.
Okay, Mr. Yagowski.
Heather, how are we doing with the cross? I know because you did say you were trying to send it the cross training just in case somebody doesn't make the work and you have to still get somebody to fill.
Yeah, we cross train most things, but the criminal side is incredibly touchy. Every judge wants things done different ways, especially that criminal work, because you don't want a case tossed because somebody in the clerk's office wasn't used to doing criminal work and made an error. You just don't want that. So we do have people that are specific to They do it every day. It's all they do. They don't touch anything else.
But as any department, I mean, two people can't come to work today, then we don't just shut the criminal. I mean, is anybody still do you do any cross training at all? With
Yeah,
this? Can somebody still handle it somewhat or what?
At that point, I step in, and nobody wants that. No, I'm just kidding. They have given me step by step, but you get very nervous, and I understand if you don't do this every day, you don't want your name attached to this.
I get it.
And I completely understand that. So that desk, I need a full-time person.
This is not saying I believe you need the full-time person, but we still have to get out of this system that we can't cross-train. I mean,
No, we do cross-train, but there are a few things. I wouldn't take somebody who only does criminal and have them come in and assist with, election administration. I wouldn't do that. I think part of this is because again, like I said, we're team players. We're here. We're going to try. But every department's going to be different, and I think you're really going to have to lean on the people running those departments. And opening the courthouse on election day would be a nightmare.
Okay, I disagree, but okay.
500 phone calls.
I didn't hear you nothing when we passed that. By the way,
You did not.
yeah, we did.
No, you didn't.
Hey, enough.
We're not arguing. No, the county council
We'll
passed.
argue
it.
later.
I wasn't arguing.
Yeah, argue later. All right. So, with that, for clarity, you're here asking for a replacement to a position related to circuit
Criminal.
and you also have an opening that was vacated today that we're not talking about in terms of backfilling it at any
Correct.
point. All right. So,
for some additional background, if I may.
Yes.
How many employees do you have in the clerk's office under your purview?
Do you really want me to count them right now?
Well, not if it's slow.
I would say roughly 30 to 35.
Okay. And is this position one that could be converted into, I'm going to ask the same question
I
that
know.
I've asked the others. Is this one that can be converted into 2 part-time positions or into a single part-time position?
And we are specifically talking about that criminal desk?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Are there other positions in the future that in your department that you think might be able to be converted in that way?
Possibly, but again, this is where things are very touchy. I mean, if you're working my counter, you're touching a lot of money. It's very touchy, and you have to know what you're doing when you're working on these cases. So if you're only working a few hours a day, you're not getting into that routine. You're just not getting in the groove. And I don't know. I think the pay would have, you guys are gonna have to do something with the pay. I'm accepting applications right now, and most of them are not great.
Okay.
You don't have any part-time right now, do you?
I have 4.
Oh, 4? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Kessler, second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Dan's request.
LaPorte County Treasurer Dan Barney requesting permission to hire a bookkeeper replacement.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening. Just a reminder to folks, even though this was originally listed in an old business, this was brought up during the discussion of a separate request during last meeting, which is why I moved it down to permission to hire instead of old business. So, Mr. Barney, the floor is yours.
Yeah, here seeking to replace the bookkeeper. We only have a staff of 4. We usually have a staff of 5. And that's to run both Michigan City and LaPorte offices. Our staff needs to be a trained staff because we're dealing with people's homes. People call up our office. They have questions about their taxes. They're worried about losing their house. They're worried about their exemptions, which we transfer a lot to the auditor. So we're dealing with one of the biggest assets of a person has. It's their home. So you really want staff that can answer questions properly. So you need a proper trained staff to do that. And that's why we're seeking to keep the 5, 2 in Michigan City and 3 in LaPorte. We also, like the auditor said, our tax sum went very well, but it takes a lot of time to compile these numbers and follow through on all the little, dotting the I's and crossing T's you have to make things successful. And this county has $3.7 million in collections, and we gave up almost $5 million of taxes over the last 8 or 9 years. So there's things we can do to help the county improve more, but we have to have the staff to do it. And that's what it boils down to.
Mr. Kill.
Mr. Barney, could you walk me through your employees? You're saying you have 5. I'm counting 7 on here.
We have 5, including myself and the chief deputy, be 7 altogether.
Okay, so you have 7 employees
We have
altogether.
5 on the floor, basically.
Gotcha. Tell us about the last month. You haven't had this position filled the last month. What type of outcome has that created for you?
Well, we're falling behind.
How
That's
so?
what it boils down to. I mean, we're not reconciling as fast as we would like to, so we're falling behind on that. We're not following up on AFCS, trying to figure out why we're crawling back $5 million, why the county gave up on $5 million of the taxes. We're trying to stop that leak. So there's lots of things that we could be doing, but we just don't have the staff to do it. Also, we're shuffling back and forth. Another thing we're working on right now is checks that don't clear the bank. You're supposed to get rid of them after 2 years. We got checks out there from 2018. So try to imagine doing your checkbook when you have checks from 2018, you're trying to go through all these checks that should have been cleared off years ago that haven't been. We're trying to clean that up. But to clean all this stuff up and try to make it a smooth running office, an efficient running office, it takes people to do it, and it takes trained people to do it. And also you got to realize we're dealing with all of our taxpayers' checking accounts. We get checks. It's got all their information on it. We get their credit card information. We get their bank draft information. So we need people that we can trust and that we can train and have qualified in that office. It's an important office. It does $800 million of transactions for this county. So we need, 5 out of 2 places is probably one of the smallest staffs you have in this county. And we're over $2 million in interest already this year. So hopefully be about $2.7 million by the end of the year. And we can do better. There's ways we can improve that. It just takes time.
Sure. Mr. Yelski.
So, agreeing with what Mr. Bernie said, I totally agree with him. But when we bring technology in, that's what we're supposed to straighten out. We bought the check machine, which is a great idea, and I gave you compliments for it. But it's now saved that money and that time, and now we need to utilize this. If we don't utilize it, then we're going to keep talking about this. That's all I'm saying about it.
Well, I guess what the misconception I think you're getting with the check machine, that's 6 weeks a year. There's 44 other weeks of the year that we are working full-time on, too. So this is just a bump up during this time, which we bring in part-time staff to help with that.
Right. We could have just bought part-time staff and not spent the money, and then you could have had the money to spend for this person. And so it works both ways.
But then you wouldn't have had the money in the bank the same day at making 3.5% interest,
if you
which
could,
is going to help.
If you could, we'll see the numbers after. But anyways, we bring in this stuff to help us, and we're not utilizing it. That's my statement. And we're still not, he has a person that's still not coming to Michigan City yet.
I appreciate the benefit of having the check scanning machine. I think there's definitely some money to be made by having it invested faster. So I think it's a good step forward in that direction. Also, I appreciate your office for being really fast. And I had sent a request the other day about your interest earnings for the year, and you guys provided a lot of information very quickly. So I appreciate that.
And our office staff is working with every other department. When there's a question, we're helping them. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make our part of the county better every time. That's our goal.
I'm going to ask the same question that I've asked all the other department heads that have come asking to fill a position. Can you do with a part-time person to fill this position, or 2 part-time people to get to the same amount of hours?
No, only because we have a lot of issues right now with people who are fixed income, right? Groceries have gone up, taxes have gone up, everything's gone up. So they're coming in now, they'll have cash, they'll have checks, they'll have credit cards. So we're splitting one house tax payment 3 or 4 different ways because they're trying to just get enough money to keep their house. And you can't teach a part-time person, 1, how to do that complicated bill, and number 2, the skills to deal with someone who's really upset. They're afraid they're going to lose their house. And you got to really work with them and calm them down and support them and try to get them through this the best we can. And it's our job to collect taxes, and that's what we're doing seriously. We're trying to get as much money due to the county as it's owed. We're going to try to collect it. But we want to be fair. And it takes a trained staff to do that and to treat people with respect, even though they're mad as a wet hen because their taxes go up. We catch that, right? You guys raise the taxes. Who deals with it? My office. We deal with all the mad people. We have nothing to do with the bill. So we need a good staff that can talk people down and try to make them feel good when they leave the door as best they can after they just gave us, thousands of dollars to keep their house. And it's 5, 2 locations. It's not a giant number.
Any further questions from the council?
One question. I think it was asked that you you got a chief deputy, I know, and then you got 2 first deputies?
I have a chief.
If I remember right.
A first and a second deputy.
Okay. When you were requested to put, was it a first deputy in Michigan City or the chief deputy?
No, second deputy's in Michigan City. And I want to put a clerk in Michigan City. I want the people who do the bookkeeping in LaPorte so we can work hand in hand with the auditor's office. Our high-skilled people need to be where it's happening, right? The $800 million is going through the books in LaPorte. That's where I need my best staff. We got to watch that, and we got to look at it every day. The treasurer's office looks at our bank accounts every day. That's what the state wants us to do, and that's what we're doing. But we need trained people to be able to look at that and find out what's going on. Or catch fraud before it happens and we lose hundreds of millions of dollars instead of a little bit. So we're trying to get the most competent people where the work's being done the most, and that's LaPorte.
Thank you.
You can come by anytime and we'll show you. Ask Adam, we'll bend your ear.
Yes. Yes, you will. All right. Any further questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion. Anyone?
Motion to deny.
Motion denied by Mr. Yagowski. Do I have a second? Going once, going twice. Motion dies for lack of a second. Do I have an alternate?
I have no alternatives.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
Would the liaison to the treasurer's office say you?
That is me. I'm going to have to step down. And
Would you like to speak
will.
on the behalf of the treasurer's office?
So at this point, I believe with everything that I've seen as the operations right now, everyone, the number right now is supported, and I think at this point it would be set the wrong precedent as we're continuing to work towards some level of an efficiency study as a council that is a holistic approach to the council, to the county. I believe that unless the question and answer that we go through up here that talks about can we replace with 1 or 2 part-time, that it would be almost it's the wrong precedent to go through and pick and choose based off of how we believe that the office should be run, unless we go and spend some time in there. And that's what we're looking to do with an efficiency study. So that's my opinion. And if I have to, I will step
20%
aside
of my
as president.
staff. That's 20% of my floor staff is one person.
And if I have to,
You have two other staff members. You yourself as the treasurer, and then also your chief deputy.
I was running the check machine today.
so
Excellent.
if I have to, I'll step aside as president and provide a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve.
So, okay.
You still staying down?
No, I'm not staying down at this point. So we got a motion to approve by Mr. Mullenhour. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Last part of
Mr.
it.
Yagowski.
Again, I could vote for it if he puts the right people in the right position. That was not our job to do that. The State Board of Accounts came in, that job classification's the way it is. He refused to put a person in Michigan City. That belongs there. Otherwise, I suggest you guys close Michigan City down and do one Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and there's your cost cutting right there, and then you won't need an extra person because we're not putting the person that's taking the money that's supposed to be allocated for that. That's not my decision, sir. It wasn't your decision. I don't need a study to tell me that. We were told that already. But he refuses to put that person in Michigan City. So you do whatever you want, but I can't support something like this. And that just leaves us up for if something does come missing, then they come back at the council.
Understood.
Would you please notify me or give me the directive where that was? Because I've never seen that. Honestly, I haven't seen it.
I'm sure you haven't.
You're referring to in the salary ordinance, there's a position that has like first deputy dash MC for Michigan City.
Yes, sir. It's been like that forever.
And that's the position that's supposed to be there. Is there another one that's supposed to be there?
Yes, then anybody below, because they can both do numbers together.
So there's supposed to be two in the
any
office.
but the next person. He could be there or anybody could be there.
Do you have any issue with having it staffed with two people so that there's oversight of whoever's?
I want to staff a two over there.
The person we're talking about is the
He has two,
classification,
yeah.
though. I'm talking about just anybody. But we were told by State Board of Council, look, those are the rules. If you guys don't want the rules and we get caught for it, so be it.
Are you still comfortable doing, you were talking before about gathering statistics about how many people use the Michigan City Treasurer's Office to pay their taxes. There are, of course, other options. You can pay online, you can mail in a payment, you can go to Horizon Bank, including in Michigan City, I think at multiple locations, and make payments of your taxes. Are you still comfortable with tracking statistics and then considering closing the office in the future if it doesn't seem like it's warranted?
After the spring collection, 26th, this fall we are separating mail from counter. So we'll know exactly how many people come in there and paid.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done that before. And we'll do that in the spring. Then we can say, 5 people come in or 10,000 people come in. I don't have that answer. When we get it, we can have a good conversation. I'm willing to.
Okay. Good.
I'm willing to support it as long as you track the statistics and then come back with a report after the spring tax collection so we can see whether or not it makes sense to consolidate the offices.
And it'd be much nicer if the office was down in the bottom of the building so that the old people didn't have to go so far and go through security and all the other things that make it a little harder.
All right. So I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
4-2. Mr. Otter, did you catch? Okay. Thank you. All right, on to approvals, transfers, and requests.
If I may, real quickly, I just want to call attention to, we just had 7 positions that were considered, and we approved filling 6 of those. There was one from the clerk's office that is being left open for the time being. And I think this illustrated pretty well a diversity of different departments and the complexities of trying to shrink their workforce and how, I guess it's a question to the audience. Did we make the right decision or not? Because if we're going to try and have the cuts that we're going to need to make, we would have needed to have denied all of those.
Understood. On to additional on appropriations, transfers, and requests. Jumping
with this.
Yep.
Cemetery.
Thank you. Where the heck is it?
Pioneer Cemetery right there.
There we go. LaPorte County Pioneer Cemetery. Ms. Webster, if
Hold on, Mr. Lang.
If anybody is present for, there she is. Yeah. Although this is very simple request, and you were willing to hang out till the end of the meeting for $48. I wasn't going to let that happen. All right. Name and address for the record, and then we'll go on with the motion.
Susan Webster, 2910 Roble Ave, Michigan City, Indiana.
Since you were kind enough to hang out for the rest of the meeting, does anybody have any questions regarding this?
Motion approved, Mr. President.
Motion approved by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Kessler.
In full council format, we have to have a full inquisition of $48.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you for your work.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Sue.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Magistrate Link.
On to Superior Court 4. Magistrate John Link requested motion of support at the last meeting for $10,000 towards psychiatric services. Now we need to make you whole.
Motion for is $48.
I'll take it at this point.
All right. Anything new after our presentation last month?
No, sir.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
Motion of support out of Riverboat.
I think at this point it's approved. We did the motion of support last month.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve out of Riverboat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mollenhauer. Any other discussion?
Quick question. When we went through budget hearings, this amount was modified because it has traditionally come up short, correct? Or was this a different court that asked for a modification to the amount
No,
for
this
psychiatric
was the
services?
same court.
We bumped it up during the budget process, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Is this a contractual service?
No, this is a
psychiatric services.
This is an as-need ad hoc. They probably have providers and rates, but you don't have an overall rate through the year because you don't know how many cases you're going to have to require. Correct?
Correct.
And we've traditionally gone over, right?
Every year since I've been here, so 7 years we have, that I'm aware of.
Okay. This exemplifies exactly what I was talking about before with the budget, but
understood. Loud and clear. Keep going. All in favor of the motion on a riverboat signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
I'm back.
Thanks for that, Mark. All right, LaPorte County Recorder Ella Bilderback requesting additional $6,200 appropriation for shortfall in payroll. How'd that
That's
happen?
correct. Well, I had someone retire in January. You gentlemen voted and approved the payout for the vacation and sick days, and that left me short in the budget at the end of the year, which you told me it will happen, and here we are.
All right, stopping short of the Inquisition. I'll entertain a motion.
motion to approve on a riverboat.
Motion approved by Riverboat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Keel, second by Mr. Kessler out of Riverboat. Any further discussion?
Her salary, the salaries come from perpetuation fund, right?
No, that one is from general fund.
Oh, just that one?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
One real quick, sorry.
All right.
Are you going to be replacing the staff member?
It already has.
That already has been, okay.
All in favor of paying out of Riverboat signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey.
Thank you. On to LaPorte County Sheriff Ron Heeg requesting permission to spend $995 for vehicle inspection.
This is just a transfer, more of a housekeeping item.
Yes, it is.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Yagowski.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler. Questions?
Inquisition.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. On to your next item. Additional appropriation of $120,000 for inmate food. Why are they so hungry?
We got wood chips.
Well, as much as it would be nice to, maybe unfortunately, we're obligated to provide nutritious meals for the inmates three times a day. This request comes with the exact same request that we came to you last year in that we did increase our budget, had increased our budget going into next year by this exact same amount. So this request isn't a surprise. Again, we requested this amount last year, and we requested this amount be added in the budget going into next year.
All right. Having that explanation,
I know we ask a lot of you of statistics and whatnot. Do you know how much you spend per meal?
$1.47.
It's pretty cheap. I don't think I can beat that.
No.
Maybe we take a break and have a conversation.
Is same contract company as before?
Same contract company.
And you
yep.
check on that? I mean, with other companies and that to see if.
Right. Actually, we are saving 5 cents per meal because we also use their commissary service as well too.
What company is that?
TIG's Correctional Services.
Okay.
Motion to approve out of, I'm inclined to do public safety lit. Okay, public safety lit.
Motion approved by Mr. Keel out of Public Safety Lit. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pressel. Any further discussion? All in favor out of Public Safety Lit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you.
Sheriff, real quick question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. The cars, how are we doing with the car? Are the cars? Is there,
We don't have them all in yet. We're still waiting on a couple, but they're starting to trickle in slowly to get them in. Yeah.
okay.
And we're still waiting for a couple to come in yet.
All right. Now, lastly, you have a request for $40,000 for garage maintenance.
It's not for maintenance to the garage. It's with the line item maintenance for supplies such as tires, brakes, oil, stuff like that. Busy year in the garage, which we're in the red right now as we speak by a couple $1,000s, but this $40,000 is projected to get us to the end of the year.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I'll make a comment. I was out there last week and I was talking to the mechanics about and Bob Parks with the $40,000, and I was talking also to Dan Gernitz, who he usually works on the ambulances, but he was working on an EMS vehicle, and I was kind of surprised. We all know prices have gone up, but he was doing brakes on this EMS vehicle, one of the not Tahoes, whatever they are, Suburbans, or anyway, brakes and rotors, 4 ways for all 4 wheels, $1,600 for parts only.
Just on one vehicle. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This
I
is-
do want
The
to.
biggest reason is the cost of the supplies.
Understood.
Okay. And there is one other thing. I know when I was sheriff, why I was always asked about commissary money, and I know your fund's very lucrative right now. So.
I've got plans for those funds.
Okay. All right. As
We'll
long as you
discuss
got.
it with you later, but
All right.
yeah.
Because you heard us talking about how tight this budget's going to be this year.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve out of.
Lit public safety.
Motion by Mr. Mullenhour. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion out of riverboats or out of Public Safety Lit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. LaPorte County Maintenance requesting additional appropriation of $500,000 for.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
I'm beginning to think as late as it's getting, she did this on purpose. You received the email, I guess, earlier today from Director Davis. $23,000 of this appropriation was $17,000. That was for a building that was done in the FMEC. FMEC should have paid for that, but since it's been since January and it was approved by the former director, she's obligated to pay it. Then the other stuff, miscellaneous. The big one there, $46,000 for the water. Water bill's got to be paid. NIPSCO bill, $415,000. The bills have been being paid out of that for other things besides utilities. And she's corrected that now. She's been speaking with the auditor's office on that. Those are for 3 full months, July, August, and September of those bills for that. So, like I said, there's, the trash is $10,722. She's got a new trash company coming in. That's gonna save her between the trash company and there was one other one, a contract. She should save over $20,000 next year. So she's getting the grasp of these numbers. She's just been slammed hard this year with a lot of problems that have been hit all at one time. So she's requesting that $500,000 to get her through the rest of the year.
Okay, Mr. Yagowski.
You said the bills are June, July, August?
No. The bills for NIPSCO are for July, August, and September.
Just curious, maybe you guys got a better idea than I did. If I was late 3 months in my NIPSCO bill, I'd be in trouble right now. Plus,
I'm sure they would be, but yeah.
So we don't get charged late fees or any stuff?
I don't know.
I'm sure we probably do.
just curious, because I don't know how I could get away with it.
Well, I wouldn't either.
Joey, Mike, have these been paid out of another account and
I didn't
taken care
expect you
of?
to answer the question, but I'm asking what they charge.
That, I think that you misspoke.
Oh.
The 415,000 is based on July, August, and September, but the amounts that we need for October, November, and December, we're guessing is 415,000.
To get to the end of the year.
So this is to get to the end of the year.
Yeah, okay.
Better about this now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you didn't have those notes down like that.
Okay. So, with those numbers, right? So we know that those are going to be high.
Everything's
Air
been going
conditioner
up.
rates and everything else going on there. As we went through the budget sessions, there was one thing that we covered was the fact that at that time, which was mid-July, and I think it was actually through June 30th was the numbers that we had for the ledger and electrical specifically. There was in excess of, I'm looking here, about $50,000, $53,000 of the electric side that went to things other than NIPSCO, I&M, those sorts of things. We made a very strong point to curb that behavior.
Yes.
Since then, $37,888 still went to other vendors besides those.
Besides the utilities.
Yep.
Yes.
However, I will give some credit here. $35,000 of it was 2 days after the discussion.
Yes.
Which means that those bills were most likely already in process in the auditor's office, and basically the checks were cut at that point.
They're already paid, yes.
So that means that only about, I'm going to say $2,000, not even $2,000, was still allocated to electrical. That is electrical parts or some other service provider. And that's things that we want to curb across all of the accounts, especially these high dollar ones. So my thought is potentially we treat this 415,000 as if possible, as a not to exceed, so that we can assure that it is all going to I&M and NIPSCO.
Utilities.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Auditor?
I will tell you that the numbers that you just kind of read off, if we go look to try and make any adjustments, you'd have to fund those accounts. Okay, I'm just letting you know that.
No, I'm not.
We've been there on all those accounts. So just sharing with you, but the 415 is what's expected, so we
Yep,
would
and
hope
what I'm saying is the 415 is forward-looking. I'm not looking to go back and rehash the past.
Yeah.
It's understood. It's what we're trying to
But
do
we're
better is
also
budget setting.
Based on the 3 months she had, so that should get through the end of the year.
Okay.
So is there something being done then about making this adjustment so there's like repairs and that?
Yes, there is.
Coming out of
Yes,
the
there is.
correct account? Because I know
she's had a lot of turnover in that staff over there in this year, and she's getting a grasp on it now, and she's fully staffed. She's going to be looking at different repair items she can do herself now in-house instead of hiring it done. And
we've been.
And next to the auditor's office, been working tremendously with her, help her find the money and get it taken care of.
But to answer that question, I know that with working with the auditor's office and working with maintenance personally, that's one of those activities are getting much better. The numbers here show that.
Because I know I met earlier on, it was either earlier this year or late last year when there was a different director and she was trying, but yeah, there was like all confusion. I mean, the parts were coming out of the utility bills.
Yes, and part of that is what
was
the
a mess.
problem. This was still being handled that way, so that's why Angie's getting a great grip on it. She's got a good staff now in the office.
All right.
I appreciate
Thank
the
you.
progress that's being made in this department. Make sure to keep an eye on what type of potential expenditures there might be coming to us for additional appropriation between now and the end of the year, particularly because the council has traditionally, thanks to Mr. Yagowski, has tried to avoid a December meeting, meaning that if you have, and this is generally applicable to every department head, it needs to be advertised very soon. I think the deadline is coming up in 2 weeks in order to make the November meeting, roughly, maybe less than 2 weeks. So less than 2 weeks. So it's important for department heads to keep an eye on that. Also, I would point out in our original 2026 budget, we increased the NIPSCO line item, the electric line item, by $200,000. And so now that's been reversed to 1.1 million instead of 1.3. So this will be an issue that will come back up.
I'm sure there will be, because NIPSCO's probably going to keep going up.
But for now, I'll make a motion to approve the 4 items out of Riverboat.
You need to take it out of economic development.
Economic development? Okay, we'll switch to lit. You do then.
All right. Motion to approve by Mr. Keel out of Lit Economic Development. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion? All in favor of funding out of lit economic development in an amount of $500,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One other item I'd say, beginning of the year, we're going to make sure that when someone orders work to be done, there's going to be a name attached to that bill instead of just elected official. That's gotten part of this problem, I think, to start with.
I appreciate that volunteering. One step further, gold star for you, if it's actually a PO cut out of Lao that has a number.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Because then they're tracking it in the system all along.
Yep.
Correct.
All right. Moving on to LaPorte County Community Corrections.
Permission to transfer.
Motion for permission to transfer from Mr. Yagowski. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pressel. Any further discussion? Any input, Director Beatty?
No, thank you.
All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. LaPorte County E911 requesting additional appropriation for additional IT items in amount of $30,000. Mr. Deckard, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right. So, for sake of the nature here, what this is upgrades in order to improve the overall, call it security of the server, based on not being ahead of the cutting edge of what was going on in Michigan City. I think is the best way to describe that. Would you?
Yeah, this will cover both the 911 and the sheriff's office side, just a couple updates, and will be more similar to what Darlene has. We're actually going to use some of her equipment to save on some costs.
That's fantastic to hear, because the public probably doesn't understand this, but the fact that 911, the Sheriff's Service, and the LaPorte County government as a whole are three separate entities when it comes to an IT structure.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We couldn't have done that any better.
No. Now, are you guys going to fight over which account it comes out of?
I'll let him decide.
I'll second it. Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. Kessler and a second by
Riverboat.
Mr. Mullen. All right, as long as it's coming out of Riverboat. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. LaPorte County Surveyor John Matheson requesting permission to spend out of appropriate fund 1202 Surveyor's Corner Perpetuation Fund, $13,500 for John Saylor's surveying contract.
Yes, we're required to document the existence of section corners, 5% of the total section corners, and this is a step in the process of getting a registered surveyor to review and sign off on it. This is an additional money that we need for the contract that current funding from last year did not provide enough money. This was last year was not an anticipated expense. This year, because I don't have the registration, we need to bring in an outside professional service to sign off on the documents.
Mr. President?
So, just Mr. Yagowski.
Sorry, just a point of order. So it says request permission to spend out of appropriate fund, but this is just, it's just a transfer out of the fund. He's saying it's additional money. There's two different conversations here.
Mr. Auditor,
Okay,
if you
it's
would.
not a transfer. It is, the perpetuation fund has a line item that had an amount to start the year, and it doesn't have enough in it to meet the contract. So therefore, when I did the analysis of this, working with him, you need another $13,500 to cover it. Now, there's funds that we're going to just pull down from, like we do from, like, an example, the ineligible deductions fund, like we did for us on things.
I got it.
So you're just pulling down from their funds that are available. That's it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
So does this cover the annual obligation that's required for the section corners?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And it's ready to go. So the paperwork's already been done. It's ready to go.
All right. I'll entertain a motion, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to approve this $13,500
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Keel, second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion?
Just a quick, is this something that's considered a contractual service that is included or not included in the 2026 budget that was passed earlier? Because I know this is an ongoing issue for him.
It's a good question. We'd have
Is what's been interpreted.
So the
It's a good question.
the quote that you have, is it for successive years, or is it just a one-time this
There
year?
will be a separate contract because of, or maybe my,
Very simply, they only signed a one-year contract, so we would need another contract for next year, and it's
coming.
and it's in the process of having the number, and we believe it's going to be something
it
similar
will
to
be
where we're at.
for the same amount per section corner. The quote for this year is 300 per section corner. That is has complete documentation, and 500 for ones that are discovered out of the 400 missing section corners. We're going to hunt for those to reduce that number. The same amount per section corner will be charged in 2026 if the contract's approved, as in 2025. There'll be no increase per section corner.
I'd include in my motion just to interpret this as a contract that should be reflected in the 2026 budget so that you're ready to go from day one about sorting this out next year and it doesn't take until the end of the year. If that's, Mr. Kessler, if you're okay with that.
All right. So, motion as amended by Mr. Keel to approve, as well as include in the caveat for contracted services towards the 2026 budget. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Yay.
Would you do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Jimmy Pressel,
Aye.
Mark Yagowski,
Nay.
Brett Kessler,
Aye.
Adam Karanka,
Aye.
Whatever reason.
Justin Keel,
Aye.
and Mike Mullenhour.
Yay.
Got it. 4-2 vote.
Thank you.
Got it. I had it before, but I appreciate doing it.
we
No, I
didn't
really
catch it.
appreciate it because doing that.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Port County Prosecutor Sean Fagan requesting transfer from Fund 2500 to 2501-20021.
Motion to approve, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Kessler. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Thank you for your information, by the way.
Thank you. For
It was very helpful.
Port County Parks and Rec, Jeremy Sebecki.
Okay, who's going to vote against Santa? That's the only question I'm going to ask this question.
That is a solid question. So let's just so everybody can catch context of the joke. Permission to spend $1,000 from their donation account for reindeer and Santa event.
I am the liaison with Jeremy, and I spoke about this and told him he didn't need to come to this meeting because I didn't think we get it turned down. So
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Kessler. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr.
I
Pressel.
see Step Brothers all over again.
Oh, this is where our meeting has gone. All right.
We're approving Santa, okay?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Hopefully we're getting a big bag of money and not a big bag of coal.
So the Port County Juvenile Probation requesting permission to spend appropriate.
It's transfer.
Transfer.
All
right.
Transfer from, what are these accounts for? 25,
It's just within the same fund.
It's within the same-
And we're moving, I'd have to look it up on.
it's between two service accounts.
You're
within the
just,
same
you're just
fund.
switching line items.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion approved by Mr. Pressel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Yagowski. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Council attorney comments. So let's start with council. And then we'll go to the attorney.
I do have.
Yeah. Mr. Pressel.
No comments.
Mr. Yagowski.
No comment, sir.
Mr. Mullenhour.
None.
Mr. Keel.
Nothing?
Mr. Kessler.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but in service of time, no comments.
Briefly, I want to touch on budget for a moment. we had a hard decision up here. We definitely had a lot to consider in, with what transpired between decision-making related to the use of a lit versus how to manage a budget that, yes, we spent 16 hours, 15 point something. What'd you have, Mr. Keel? Over 15 hours to try to make ends meet. And this is not a give up, go home. This is go back and do it again. This is things we got to work forward towards. I don't think this is a give up situation. This is it's an iterative process of what I call process improvement, what I do for a living. And that's what we're going to do here in county government, if I have anything to say about it. So that, Mr. Auditor.
Okay, now that you've done what you've done, I need to confirm with DLGF whether or not we need to have another meeting. And so I need to know if anybody would be available. We would probably have to hold this Thursday night, so we have to give out 48 hours notice. But I won't know this until tomorrow morning.
Mr. BG, there is a provision in the open door law, I believe, for recessing a meeting that removes that 48-hour requirement.
It would, but I wouldn't recommend that you use it when you're passing a budget.
It's fair.
I think that could stir up some things with the citizenry.
Well, the trade-off is we're telling them when it's being recessed to at this point in time, if that was something that we were thinking.
I understand, but
No, it would just be another meeting with another vote on it. That's all. Just like, because numbers have been changed. So now I may have a shorter deadline, but I need to confirm in the morning to know what, and we'll know, but we should know before noon, we hope. But I need to make sure that you understand that we may need to have another meeting, and that could be done by Zoom too. We'll have, it can't be done, we can't do. You have to sign
I
it.
cannot
You have to
vote
be
via
able to sign it.
Zoom for tax-related matters, I believe. Mr. BG? Sign it, but
Well, we've signed one already.
I thought when we did this before, during Rich's tenure, that as long as you guys all voted separately during that time, but I'm okay. I'm not going to be there, so you guys, because I'm going forward in like 10 minutes. So you guys, if I can't be there, just tell me I can't be there. It's okay, I do it. I thought is that when the vote goes through, then you guys have to physically vote.
Mr. BG?
I don't understand what you said, Mark. Say it again.
If I'm on Zoom, and all the requirements is that everybody has to vote verbally. They can't just go aye.
there's a separate
Right, yeah, you got to
specific exception.
voice vote.
You can't attend via Zoom and vote on a budget. Like, that's one of the exceptions for attending via Zoom.
No problem with this. Just let me know if I can or can't.
Okay, I'll check it
I'm
out.
leaving. That wasn't planned in the meeting, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that again.
All right, let's make a point to
We-
figure that out
the issue
between
is
now and tomorrow
meeting
morning.
signatures also.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, but I have this damn.
I understand.
Here's the section for Mr. BG. IC 514 1.5 3.5 subsection I. A member of a governing body may not participate in a meeting of the governing body by electronic communication if the governing body is attempting to take final action on, one, to adopt a budget. My point is after tonight it will be locked in because you will only be able to have 3 people. So you won't have quorum.
We have 4.
We'll have 4.
4? Oh, I guess you have 4. Okay. Well,
We're still at 6 unless you're telling us.
that's right. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just said I'd.
Then you would have quorum, but you might you'd need probably a unanimous vote.
We would need a unanimous vote in order to pass any change.
We don't know that's what we need to do, but we want to be ready for it.
Yep.
Okay?
Understood. I appreciate the recommendation. All right. Availability Thursday?
Gets me on a horse stalls.
Gets you out of horse stalls.
No.
No, you're in Florida.
I'll make it work.
Make it work.
Yep.
Mr. Molnauer?
I can make it work.
You'll make it work. I'll make it work. So we'll get it done. Let's though be said, 5.
As soon as we know, we will share.
All right.
That's nothing personal, but the IC code was also written prior to the COVID thing. Could we just double check to make sure that because I'm not saying that that Mr. Keel's wrong. Okay.
Review it as well, just to make sure.
Agreed. I'm just pointing out some potential problem.
No, I understood.
Counting on it.
100%.
So you want to recess now during
Up to you.
So
I'd recess.
let's make it a recess so that we can call it to recess to 5 PM Thursday?
Pending verification.
Pending verification.
Pending verification.
What you want, then that's what we're doing.
Does 5 PM work for you?
It's gonna work.
All right. Okay.
I just,
other-
I just need permission from you to interpret things the best I can.
Understood.
So if you want to do that, that'd be great.
Okay. Any last advice, Mr. PG?
End the meeting.
No, I'd say if we're going to take a recess, just call it by the president's command. I don't think you need a vote. You know, I don't think you need a
I think at this point, I'm going to call it a recess until 5 PM on Thursday.
Yep.
All right.
Which means you're.
Thank you, everyone.
Walter.